to Home, presented by RE/MAX Diamond Realty.
Okay, everybody, we are going to start this episode of House to Home on a rather mathematical note because we're going to talk about inequality. And specifically, I want to tell you guys that being pre-approved for a house loan and being pre-qualified, according to my two BFFs here that are the mavens of real estate and everything, being pre-qualified, Liz and Gina, and being pre-approved are not the same thing.
Not the same
as far as
thing.
the bank's concerned.
No.
Which ultimately means as far as you're concerned, right?
Right.
And as far as the seller's
Seller's
concerned,
concerned.
Yeah, that's true too.
Yeah.
which is more important than what we think.
So where does the demarcation line lie when it comes to being pre-approved and pre-qualified?
Well, with pre-qualification, just bear in mind, if you're going to the bank, you're going to have to bring a number of documents. Your last 2 years tax return, your last 2 pay stubs, employment verification. So there's background information that the loan officer will need. And what they do is they look at all the numbers and they figure based on the price of the property that you're purchasing, would it meet the would it meet the threshold for giving a loan? So the pre-qualification process is just the initial step. So you need all of that. There are other steps that are needed in order to get you pre-qualified. So you need all these documentation in order to get that done. So if you don't have it, I mean, we try to get our buyers ready when they go to the bank to have as much information as possible. And then, of course, they do the credit checks. But the loan approval process is totally different because they will run through, again, then they'll check the numbers again, do a credit check, and do a number of things to make sure that you are qualified for that loan.
Okay, and Gina, I think the number of documents that have to be filed probably exceed the number of polka dots on your very lovely dress today. So.
No, I don't think so.
No, because that is a very nice outfit, by the way. But I mean, it is a significant amount of paperwork. It's not beyond reason because obviously you guys help your clients every step of the way, and people do this all the time.
Well, the thing that I
But
want to
most
tell
people would assume is they say, okay, when I'm pre-qualified, I'm pre-approved right away, and that's a misconception.
Not necessarily.
It's not necessarily the same thing, but my husband and I, we just closed a transaction recently, and I was overwhelmed by the amount of paperwork that was required. But here's the deal: suck it up, make it happen, because you know what? You need that loan. Like we needed the loan, and I got frustrated at the amount of documents that was asked of us. But if I don't turn it in, because the bank cannot give you the loan if their dots are not dotted and the T's crossed.
You know,
so they're in the same pickle that you're in. They don't want to ask for all those things either, but they don't have a choice.
You know what, my grandfather,
governed.
God rest his soul, I can just hear him telling me from Again Heights, he'd be like, okay, boy, stop crying. How bad do you want that house?
That's exactly the thing.
Yeah.
And
if this is what they say has got to be done, it's got to be done.
And the banks are governed by federal requirements as well.
Yeah.
So they have to follow a process.
And what we want to stress today is it is a seller's market. And that means there are more buyers out there going after the same piece of property than there are sellers who want to sell. And because of that, you know, the difference, between getting pre-approved and pre-qualified is so significant. When you go in and you talk to your loan officer, we want to make sure that you ask all the right questions. And one of them is, you asked me a series of questions. Does this mean that if I come back with my purchase agreement, I go out there, fall in love with a house, have my agent write up the offer, and I come back, that I'm guaranteed I'm going to get that loan? If the answer is not yes, then ask, well, what do I need to do so that when I do come back, the answer is going to be yes? I already know you're going to get approved. Just bring me a purchase agreement.
But Gina's right. We are in a seller's market that the buyers have to be prepared. They're going to have to get everything in place and ask, like she says, ask the loan officer for what else you need. And one of the critical parts, too, is the credit check. And you have to also tell them what credit card payments, bills you have, what loans out there are outstanding as well. Because sometimes, even if they say, okay, you're good, you may have to take care of some other bills in order to make it good. So if you're going to pre-qualify for, let's say, a $400,000 loan.
That's the other side of the bank.
Yes.
That's the office
if you're
down
going to
the
qualify
hall.
for $400,000, but you need to get rid of this particular loan that's on the side. So there's a number of things. And as Gina puts it, we really want to stress, a lot of buyers stand in line, and sometimes we're getting multiple offers. So you're going to have to position yourself where you're ahead of everyone else, especially when there's competition.
So the bank will actually tell you you've got existing debt obligations. Like I may
Yes.
have, say, like you've got an old school loan, or I went on a vacation with a bunch of my friends, so I took out like a personal loan for that. They're like, okay, we can qualify you, or you do meet the criteria where we'll sign off on this $400,000 loan, given that you clear these existing debt obligations. And after that, smooth sailing for you.
A good loan officer will actually walk you through
the
that and
process.
give you some ideas of what you need to eliminate.
Is there
Yeah.
okay, I'm thinking in accounting terms now, right? Like, as business people, we all know the term net 30, right? Like you have 30 days to pay and here's the obligation. Is a loan officer essentially making me an offer or a deal and just saying, okay, I'm going to qualify you for this amount. It's a 6-digit deal and everything like that, but you got to clear this other debt, but my offer is only good for like 30 days. Or does it work like that? Or they say once you get it done, come back in a year and it'll still
No,
I'll still be good.
it depends on your circumstances, but
Yeah.
it doesn't work that way.
way.
Okay.
You go in and I really stress that the other thing you should think about is don't just go to one loan officer. Go to a
Compare.
couple, compare.
Compare.
And if
Shop
you're-
around.
Shop around. But if you're working with a good agent, your agent can ask you a series of really good questions to figure out what you need, and based on your needs, tell you, okay, you know what, you go to this place and this place and this place. Because not all the banks offer the same type of loans,
They're
nor
different
is their
types.
process the same. So it is important. But and I find that, if a customer walks into the bank, and this is not, I'm not saying that all banks are like this, but this is what I've seen generally happens. A customer walks in and says, I want a loan of this amount, this is what I'm thinking. I don't find too many loan officers that will sit there and get creative and say, okay, you know what? If you do this, this is what we can offer you. If you do this, this is what we can offer you. And so I find that when my customers come to me, that's actually what I do. What are you thinking about?
yeah.
What are your goals? How much do you have saved up?
Okay, and
And just because you have the money saved up doesn't necessarily mean you want to use all of
And
it.
let us end on that point, because by no means are we telling people that you shouldn't do this. It's just be aware of the amount of
Right.
work that is involved, because it's
Yeah.
worth it in the end.
Yeah.
And do
But-
it.
But in the end, also,
real
the
quick.
bank will give you a loan commitment. The loan commitment that says, yes, we're going to give you this loan, but it's subject to providing A, B, C, D. It's a conditional loan commitment that says we will give you the loan, but you need to provide all these documentations to give it a go.
Understood. Thank you, ladies.
Thank
Thank
you.
All right,
you.
we'll see you next time.